Hey guys, it's Kim, and it is Thursday evening. Just kind of finished a inspiring day of interacting with people, doing a lot of kind of data gathering for the coaching program I'm going to put together, and I'm putting together with the book and all that, and it's all coming out. And I want to do a live on regular Facebook. I do a lot of lives in my what I call my monster group. I have like a secret Facebook group I call my beta group, and they're kind of my, they've been along with this journey with me, and I go in there and ask questions and do lives in there. But if I do a live here, I can put it in that group. If I do a live there, it's secret, so I can't put it here. So anyway, welcome. And so I wanted to just come to you with this idea today of, hey guys, I gotta put my glasses on. Hey, Karen, Lynette, Linda, Deck, Stephanie, Kim. I want to come to this, I want to bring you this idea of what I've discovered a lot in human nature. And definitely today in the calls I've had, it's been largely reinforced that one of the tendencies we have as humans and how our brains are wired. Remember the whole premise, and some of you who don't know my premise and don't know the metaphor that I'm using in The Monster Under the Bed, is that we were wired as young children to make people happy. That was part of survival for us. When we're little, we don't have a logical brain. So we look around at our tribe, at our community, and go, we wouldn't have survived as a loner. So our brain wiring is, you better make everybody happy. They better like you. And then you're wondering as an adult why you feel driven to have people like you and to not make people mad, and that you don't like conflict. And you don't like, oh no, I don't want to get into an argument because they might not like me. It's completely normal. Like, that's not a character flaw. That really is how you're wired. So, hey guys, thanks for joining. So here's the little topic I wanted to bring up, and you guys can comment below, ask me questions if you want. But that basically is how much damage to yourself and to really inevitably the people you love happens as a result of you trying to make everybody happy. Have you noticed the song from Wicked, the musical, says, "No good deed goes unpunished." Yeah, you get punished for every time you do a good deed. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that the more you don't want conflict, conflict ensues? Have you noticed that trying to take care of everybody and make sure they like them and they like them, and you're in the middle and you think you're doing good, and then both sides hate you? I'm sorry, it's not funny, but I'm just saying that, and I'll just leave my glasses on. I can't see if someone's asking me something. So anyway, that is the topic I wanted to bring up, because that is an absolute direct result of the monster that's under your bed. That little kid that's scared. When you're little, you don't have any other way of processing it. And those mental wirings were put down and laid and cemented, fired and wired together when you're little. And you didn't have an option. You were a blank slate. You accepted everything, and you didn't have a way of processing it logically. So you didn't know that when your parents were fighting, it wasn't not just about you. It probably was about you, and also probably because of you. That's how our brain is wired. So some of you beat yourself up because you don't know why. Maybe some of you are still trying to make your mom happy, and you're 45 and you've locked into what I call the dance of the monsters. And we're all raised by our parents' monsters, by the way. Like, we had no hope. Even if you raised your children perfectly, you didn't really have a hope of solving this problem, because it would take equipment you and I as children and our children just did not have. So even if you tried to love and give unconditional love, good for you. It does make a difference. It's way better than beating them up. Or if I had it to do over again, oh my gosh, how many things I would do different now that I understand about how our brains are wired. And then the residual, so because what happens now at 57, yep, that's how old I am. What happens now is, and over the course of the years, all of that brain wiring has been cemented, and we're only brought evidence to show what we already believe about ourselves. So even if you want to think differently, it takes some skill and some knowledge and some tools to understand how to do that, how to unwire, rewire, because you're going to be in a constant state of, oh my gosh, why do I do that? Because you know, now that you have this brain that doesn't, you guys, it doesn't fully even form all the way, finish forming till like 25. So think about all those years that your psyche, that your identity, that who you were laid out to be, you know, the brain wiring that was laid out, and your identity that's attached to that, your skills. It's not all bad, by the way. You learned a ton of stuff to make those people happy. You did it. I learned how to play the piano and sing and direct and perform, because that was what was important in my family. My family were ministers and music ministers, and I was on stage. I never remember not being on stage performing or singing or whatever, because that's what these people wanted. So it produced some good skills. But the difference is that when it drives us to keep doing these things that never needed to be done to begin with. Like you never had to do that, right? Do your kids really need to do anything to have you love them? No, but they didn't know that. And you didn't know it. So we're wired to make these people happy and to make sure that we're accepted in our community. So you look around, and maybe your family was full of perfectionists, that you make your bed and you fold the towels this way, and you get, you clean the kitchen and the toilet, and you make sure you, right? Nothing wrong with that in and of itself. But the little kid looks around and goes, okay, in order for me to be accepted in this community, I have to do it that way, because that's my value is now placed on that. My intrinsic worth as a person is now connected to how well I fold my towels, because that's the wiring. Hey, Linda. Hey, TJ. And so that's what the whole premise of this is that you can never get enough of what you never needed to begin with. Because the minute that little kid, myself, had the lie, I call it the monster, is the same as this lie that's just kind of under the bed, that is too scary, because we know it's there, and it was built from a fear of innate wiring of survival, because if you didn't make it in your community, you wouldn't have lived. So your innate wiring told you, you better be okay in this world. They better like you. And you didn't know they already did. Because anytime there was anything negative, think about maybe the times that your mom saw you reach up to grab a hot something on the stove, touch the burner, right? Kim, don't do that. Maybe you started running out to the street, or did go out into the street because your ball went out there. Come on, I gotta go get my ball, Mom. It's my ball. I gotta play. Well, your mom, you don't know, because you don't have this brain, that there's cars that can kill you. Your mom knows that. So she grabs you. Kim, don't ever do that. Maybe whack, 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 right? Why? Because she loved you. But my little brain couldn't accept that. I didn't know that. So I just went, oh my gosh, I'm bad. I'm so bad. Because I did that, whatever that, I just meant to get my ball, but okay, she's mad, she hates me, I have to be better now. So you vacillate between the amygdala is triggered for fear. This is a lot bigger than what I went into, but since I'm seeing some of you on, I'm just telling you. So the amygdala, the survival brain that has no connection to logic, it only senses your emotion, and when it felt that, I may die fear, illogical as it was, you may die. It triggered the amygdala. The amygdala's only message is fight or flight or freeze. But in the middle of survival, you're just only thinking of, I'm going to flight. I'm going to get away. And I believe it's just my interpretation, my opinion, is I believe flight, shame, by the way, was the first thing that we experienced as a result of this thing that didn't go over well. Whatever that was specifically in our lives. And so it didn't go over well. We felt shame, like, I'm not good enough. I'm bad. I'm not good enough. And that's a function of shame. And so that's flight. And then following on the heels of that can be fight. And that's another message from the amygdala. Like, oh yeah, you better go do that. You better be good. You better be good. Be good. Be smart. Be perfect. Prove. And so we look around. I took piano. I sang. I did the things that proved, okay, am I good now? How about now? How about now? Right? And so this is the whole premise of basically this book that's someday going to come out, because I'm still working on a whole package that's going to come out with it to better support the world with this process. What I've discovered as I've done speaking engagements, as I've gone in coaching groups, and I've coached people one-on-one, but mostly in groups, I know that this process is not a one and done. Like, you're not going to read the book and go, you probably will have a little bit of relief, like, oh, okay, whew, that explains it. But it's really a supporting issue that I need to provide more support, more community, more experiential times with people. And I'm not going to just put the book out just to hope that helps people. And because that's never been my intent. I never wanted to write a book. The book is a door opener to more ways that I'm going to help impact the world. So, but this is the basic message. And so here's the question. Hi, Jenny. Here's the question for you. How much, just one of the monster tracks I talk about is people pleaser. Are you a people pleaser? Do you avoid conflict at any cost? Do you try to make sure everybody gets along? And how much do you violate you by not facing or being honest about what you want and what's acceptable to you? Some of you, I know as a mom, you guys, I know that sometimes in my life, I didn't even know who I was at all. Because I got married so young, I had kids so young, and I was in the throes of the monster completely. And when my first thought was, wait, what would I do what is important to me? And again, you need this brain, you guys. This brain doesn't fully develop. So you make the biggest decisions of your life with half your mind, right? Linda, so true. Being good enough, we think about, but God knows you are good enough. Yeah, but you know what? Okay, Linda, I'm not putting down that God knows it, but it doesn't matter what God knows, because we have to accept it. Because we all know that we're loved. That's this brain. That's the brain that didn't establish the wiring that you're running on right now. The brain that knows you're loved, knows your parents loved you or didn't, worried about that they didn't love, like all that, knows that, yeah, I should eat right and exercise. Yeah, I should have a budget, I should not spend so much money. Like all of that's this brain. And how much of this brain dictates what you do in your life. Just be honest with yourself. You don't have to say it here. So it doesn't matter how much God loves you. The scripture I'm thinking of says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. But our little hurt 4 or 5-year-old kid that made this decision about ourselves, we don't love ourselves. We still are judging ourselves. And I have like 10 monster tracks that show this is how it shows up. So people pleasing is the one I wanted to talk about right now. So thank you for being on and participating. And Melody, I didn't think I was, but I kind of think I am now. You were talking about it. You were talking about it when I was talking about something that it applied to, I'm sure. But, that's the thing. We've got this love, this self-love. The little 4 or 5-year-old of you is the one that needs the love. And that is part of this rewiring process, because it was the decision that was made there that caused the amygdala to think maybe you were going to die from an emotional fear standpoint, and that caused fight or flight responses in you that have served you very well, by the way. In fact, many of our identities are connected to our fight energy, our fight message. I've got to prove I'm good. I've got to earn enough money. I've got to be skinny. I've got to be beautiful. I've got to be smart. I've got to be perfect. Those are fight messages that we all were on some level raised with, because even if our parents didn't say it to us, we looked around in our community. Some of you had to win in sports. Some of you looked around and went, oh, my family's all into sports. I better be good at sports. So here's what I want to say, and then we're going to hang up. I'm hoping that you can find some relief with some pain you might be having inside yourself with just the thought that, oh, you mean I have this, it's not a character flaw, it's not a moral deficit, it's not something wrong with me, it's my wiring. It's kind of like my friend Kelly Reif that talked about the archaic wiring in a house, the knob and tube. Remember the TV sets that had all the knobs and they'd blow up occasionally, and the transistor radios that were tubes, you know? Well, we don't have that anymore, but we made decisions about us with knob and tube wiring, and we have high-powered, new and improved, I don't even know the term for it because I'd have to know electronics, but we have this new prefrontal cortex brain. And if you could just realize that everything in your life, if you're not aware of it, you're still hijacked by the knob and tube that the 5-year-old laid down in you. And so I want you to find some relief in going, oh, okay, I guess I can, oh, that feels better. I want you to feel better. Okay, so how are you a people pleaser? If you're watching this on playback, or if you're watching this, you don't even have to put it. It might be a little bit too uncomfortable, but think about it. Reach out to me privately if you want. If you want to go into my monster group, I got that going, and we do some lives. I'll put this video in there as well, and you can ask more questions in there, and those people will be the first hot off the press people to know about what the book's happening with the book anyway. So, all right, love you guys, and go out and don't please somebody, okay? Don't piss them off, but don't be driven. Don't be driven to please. Watch and see how that affects you. Okay, bye.